For the wool inlay, I'll take the pattern and cut a good section of the center out. That way we can tape it down and mark all the holes and stuff here. This is the only piece that'll be cut differently. The rest you can just tape down to the leather. So when you do this, don't tape over those holes that you already punched out. For the holes, I'll just grab a marker or something and just tap in there. Go quick, otherwise that line can get too thick if you let the ink soak in. If you're going with a knife, you don't want to push all the way down to the table. You want to go just through this top layer. It might take a couple passes, but that works. What I prefer to use is scissors, and I'll just make sure I keep that blade up against the skin underneath. There's a couple of ways to do this. You can butt this side up against a board, or you can kind of just get the stuff out of the way. You just don't want to pierce through a bunch of it. It'll mess up that edge. The way that works best for me is I'll punch holes that way. So when I get some of this underneath here, this side of my hand can hold that side, and I can go a lot more holes without having to resituate anything. So just in case you're thinking, which way do I flip this? It's a mirror image, so it doesn't matter which way this is flipped around. I just like to start on one of the corners so I know for sure everything will be aligned. Another thing you can do, make sure you have the holes aligned first, is put a little piece of tape to hold this, so you're not fighting all these layers flopping around in your way. What you want is to just be able to see those holes, so if you need to trim this a little more, you can. You can see here I didn't get this corner quite enough. So just get in there and make sure you can see just the end, just inside of these holes here. But it helps to start at a hole that you know you can match up, like this one right at the very end here. And then it's just a matter of getting that fuzz out of the way. Just give that fluff a push from underneath with the needle. Before you pull this completely snug, make sure nothing's underneath there. What you want to do if you're using something that's thicker than like a 5-ounce, you're going to want, don't skive this one, but just this one a little bit, and that'll help make it easier for you to get it on and off your guitar. It still would work. Otherwise, it would just be a little bit harder to get on. So I like to skive that just a little bit if I have the secondary layer that's a little thicker. And all I've got to do is sew these two together. It's always good to start somewhere where you know you're on the same hole. If you started somewhere in the middle here, there's no guessing if you got the same holes lined up or not. So both of these layers are a little thicker. You can go thinner. I would prefer to go thinner on this bottom one, since the top one is what is going to be attaching to the guitar. But you can even do just a single layer. You can use these for simple strap patterns without any inlay or anything like that. You can see this one has the smaller seam allowance. What I like to do is sew around these inlays first, and I'll come up this opposite side. That way it holds everything in place while I'm coming across this chrome tan underneath. I don't pull it out of whack. It's held, so then the stitches will just end up looking quite a bit nicer. Obviously, you can just go down to one of the end ones if you want this longer.